So you're on your way to start your business, your brand is well defined, but what about the rest? Do you have the one tool to help you run your business the smart way?
Let's find out.
Hello, I'm your host Kaycinho. I'm a digital alchemist, and this episode is episode number 3 of a module dedicated to the action phase of creating a business. So if you haven't seen the first 2 episodes, I strongly invite you to check the playlist in the description of this video. And by the way, this module is the 4th module of a course dedicated to take you from the burning desire to become your own boss to actually launching your business. So you will also find a link to the full course playlist in the description of this episode. So if you followed along the first 3 modules of this course and use the resources mentioned, you should now have a clear business plan and a clear marketing plan, as well as a well-defined personal brand or possibly a business brand depending on your type of business. But are you really ready to launch? And by that, I mean, do you have all the tools in place to run a business? Now, when getting started, especially as a solopreneur or very small business, you may want to dive in head first, thinking that you don't need processes and tools such as a CRM. Now, in case you don't know what a CRM is, it stands for Customer Relationships Management. Basically, it's a tool that will give you a bird's eye view of your business. It helps you manage your leads, stay connected to your customers, streamline processes, and improve profitability. Now, there is a good reason that the most successful companies use CRMs. It's just a smart way of doing business. Now, I'm not advising you to spend months or years planning for the perfect processes and overthinking the whole thing. But if you believe in your project, using a CRM from the very start could be what makes the difference between you and the guy or girl in the next cubicle that also wants to create a successful business. Now, don't get me wrong. A CRM alone is not what will make you successful, but if you have a good product or service, as well as simple yet solid business and marketing plans, a CRM will help you drive your business
Like a boss.
Now, the issue is that oftentimes CRMs are quite expensive, especially when you're just getting started with a limited budget. Also, some CRMs just seem to be missing the one thing that you need for your business, and either you must have that feature custom developed or you must upgrade to pricier plans. For years, literally, I was searching for a tool that was both affordable and flexible enough so that it could match several types of business models. Well, I couldn't find any, so I was using several tools, both free and premium, but that was cumbersome. Until I landed on a little gem that I'm going to share with you today. It's cheap, it's a one-off payment, and it's one of the most powerful tools in my arsenal. It's called Perfex CRM, and I use it every day. Now, some of my clients also adopted it after interacting with it. You'll find a direct link to Perfex CRM in the description of this episode. This is an affiliate link, which means that I do get a commission if you purchase after clicking on my link, but I only recommend Perfex CRM because 1, I truly love this tool, and 2, commissions help me support this channel and create free content. So if you purchase through my link,
Thank you.
now, I know that there are tools with a much better looking UI out there, but don't be fooled by the looks because this is a beast. And what's more, you can actually customize the looks to your liking via the styling options. And if you know CSS, you can even change the style even more. Now, I could spend a few hours just going through the list of features that you will find within Perfex, but let's look at a demo. So welcome to the Perfex demo. Right now we're logged in as an admin. So I'm just going to go through the different menu items. So this is your dashboard. This is where you can really have a bird's eye view of your business. As you can see here, you can see the invoice overview, the estimate overview, proposal overview. You can see your to-do items, your statistics by status, your tasks, your projects, your reminders. And the great thing is you can just drag and drop things. You can move the blocks around to really personalize how you want your dashboard to look. And if you have several colleagues or employees, they can all customize their dashboard this way. So following up, we have the week events, the calendar, the latest project activity, and the weekly payment records. I believe you can customize that further in the settings, but as you can see, it's really handy because whether you're a project manager or It's your own business. You can just really come customize what you want to see so that in the glimpse of an eye, you know what's going on with the business. Okay, now let's move to customers. So basic and regular features for a CRM. You can add a new customer. You can import customers. So if I click on import customers, you can choose a CSV file. You can create groups, and you can also password protect all of that. So in case you have some employees, but you don't want them to have access to each and every contact, you can password protect it. Next, let's move to sales. You can create proposals. So let's look at one of the proposals. So as you can see, you can add images, you can add, I believe you can add video too, or embed video media. But basically, you have more freedom than you have in the estimates and the invoices, and you don't really want estimates and invoices to be creative. But for proposal, that's great. And then this is what the customer will see, and they can either decline or accept. Or if they just want to think about it, they can just download it and then come back to this page later. And actually, right now, I'm not seeing this as, as I said, as an admin. I'm seeing this as if I was a customer. And I could leave a comment right here. So at least you can follow up on the discussion and what was said and when it was said. So going back to the demo, here you have the estimates. And it's really well done. So if you click on an estimate, you can view the PDF in a new tab. You can download it, you can print it. And also you can view the estimate as a customer if you want to be sure you didn't make any mistake, and you can attach files. And then you have options like mark as draft, sent, expired, or accepted. You can also easily just copy an estimate. So if you know you're always doing the same kind of estimate, you can just in one click, you can copy it, or you can delete the estimate. Now in the estimate, you can see the task linked to the estimate, the activity log. So for example, here, you can see that the estimate was declined 2 hours ago. You can set reminders, and you can write notes. You also have access to email tracking and to views tracking. So you're able to know if the customer actually saw the estimate or not. And here we can toggle the full view. But what's more important is this. Once you have an estimate, so this one, you can just send it using a template. You can also send it to a secondary address. And once you're happy with the estimate is being approved, you can just convert it to an invoice, which is pretty handy because you don't have to retype everything every time that an estimate is accepted. Now, if we move to invoice, we have kind of the same options, or many of the same options. And if you want to see what it looks like, I'm just going to open it in a new tab. So this is the PDF. Well, it can be as simple or as complex as you want, because actually you have some custom fields where you can add a lot of different fields. So let me go back. So now let's try to edit an invoice so you can see what it looks like. And here you have the customer name. It comes from the customer database. You can change and set the invoice number, the invoice date, the due date, well, basically all the options for an invoice. Now you can also add client notes, and you can add terms and conditions. So you can add a lot more content in your invoices. Now let's move to payments. So here you can really see what's been paid, and it's, of course, it's linked to an invoice. So it's pretty easy to know at a given time what's out, what money's out. And you can also export all of that in Excel, CSV, PDF, and you can print it. As you can see, there's a lot of options, and every time I move into a screen, I have more and more options. Now, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, because Perfex can be as simple as you want or as complex as you want. But it's great to have all those options, because you may start with a small business and then gradually, and this is what I hope for you, is that your business is going to grow, and when it grows, you have more needs. And that's what I love about Perfex, is that there's a lot of options that the day that your business grows, you can really start using it and you will see the power of Perfex. Now, credit notes, that's pretty straightforward. If you have some credit notes, you can just add the credit notes here. Okay. And then you can also add items. So you could add, yeah, as you can see here, consultant services, LCD TV, MacBook Pro. So you know what you've been purchasing. And next, let's move to subscription. So if you have some subscription-based business model, this is where you can add new subscription, and you can actually link it to either PayPal or Stripe or some other payment processors. Here you can add your expenses, and that will be helpful because, as you will see, you can generate reports, so you can see what's coming in, what's going out, and what is the balance. And I hope for you that the balance is always in the green. Next, you can also add contracts, and that's great because at any given time, you're able to know the active contracts, the expired contracts, and those about to expire so that you can take necessary action right on time. Next, we have the projects, and I use that a lot, and that's especially great when you're managing teams because you create all your projects. Personally, I like to give my projects some numbers. So, for example, I would have 3 letters for the name of the client. So let's say for Perfex, it would be PFX. Then I would have PFX 00, PFX 01, 02, and so on. But you know, you may have your own way of organizing things, and that's perfectly fine. Now, what I love about the project management in Perfex, and actually that's what you would expect from a CRM, but it's very well done. So let's go into the brochure design project. So as I said, each time you go to a screen, you have a lot of options, but it's really powerful. So first of all, you can add the members, you can add and remove members. So you may be working with a team of 20 people, but for some projects you'd have 5 people, 6, 10, and you don't want anyone to be in that project and get the notification. So just add the people that need to be added to the project. Now, as we'll see later, another great feature is that you can add partners that are actually not staff members, and you can differentiate the permissions and the things that they can do on the platform. But for example, let's say that you're creating here a brochure design, and let's say that you need to work with a cartoonist. That's not an employee, so you could add that professional here as a partner, and they would only have access to that project. So that being said, you have an overview of the project here. You can see who the customer is, the billing type, the rate per hour, the status, and the dates and deadlines. You can also log your hours, and you can see the project progress at any given time, as well as the open tasks and the day left to complete the project. You can also move directly to the tasks, and this is once again very well done. So let me open a task. You can add checklists within the task, so you know the completion percentage at any given time. You can start a timer, but as you can see here on the pop-up, you need to be assigned to that task to be able to start a timer and stop the timer, and you can edit the timesheets. You can assign the task to member of your team, like I just did here. And if you just want to follow what's going on with the task, but you don't want to assign the task to yourself, for example, you can just add staff or partners as followers. Once you're happy with the task, you can just mark it as complete. Okay, next we have the timesheets. So just show you now here in the demo, there's no timesheet found, but you would find all the different timestamps here. You can set milestones in the projects. So here we can see we have planning, design, development, system integration, and product testing. Yeah, and you can move stuff around. And when I say stuff, I mean task. You can move tasks around in the in this board. So that's pretty handy also, because you might have some tasks that start in one milestone and they go across different milestones. So this is really great for a project manager. Next, we have the files. So you're able to add files right from within the Perfex admin. Now, I use that, but I won't use that for very large files, because this is sent over HTTP. And let's say that you're working on a 2 gigabytes PSD file, which is a pretty big file, but still it happens. So you don't want to put that on your web server, for example. Now, if it's a dedicated server, that's another story. But if you're using shared hosting, it's not really a good idea. So what I would advise to do is to put files either on Dropbox, and you can actually link Perfex to Dropbox, or you could just have a Google Drive, whether business or just a simple Google Drive, and then you would just link the files from the discussions and the tasks. So next we talk about the discussion, and here you can create a discussion and all the members of that specific project will receive a notification. Now, the great thing is that, as I said, if you have 20 people on your team and you just have 5 people on the project, only those 5 people will receive a notification for this discussion. Next, we have the Gantt view, and if you're familiar with Gantt charts, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're not familiar with Gantt chart, it's a way of organizing tasks and plannings, and it's really great that it's built in within Perfex. Next, we have the tickets, so you can either log yourself ticket support as staff, or people can actually, I want to say people, I mean clients can actually log tickets right from their dashboard. So that's pretty powerful, especially because you can activate email piping. And if you're not familiar with email piping, basically you can create an email address like support@yourbusiness.com. And when people will write or send an email to that email address, it automatically creates a ticket. And then all underlying replies will stay in the feed of that ticket. So it's pretty handy, because you know how it is to just treat support requests per email. After a little while, it's just messy, and 6 months from now, it's almost impossible to find that email back, or just pinpoint where the issue actually started and what happened. Here, everything would be streamlined and really set within Perfex. All you need is the ticket number or the name of the client. You can also assign to departments, and you can assign to services. So by services, I mean you can create specific services like, I don't know, silver website, platinum, gold, and then the agent knows right away if it's within its skill set, or if he should pass it on to another team member. Okay, so that was for support. Now leads, I love the lead feature, and by default, this is the view you have. But the real power comes here when you switch to the Kanban view, because you can actually structure your funnel. So here the funnel that comes by default was new, contacted, qualified, working, proposal sent, and if I move to the right hand side, the green means that you became a customer. So this is the first step in the funnel, and when you click on a prospect, you can see all the details that you entered at first contact. But you can also see if there's any proposal sent, the task linked to that prospect or to that lead, the files, the reminders, the notes, and the activity log. So first of all, it's really handy if someone just joins your company and you ask them to take care of that lead. In a glimpse of an eye, they can know the history. In a few minutes, they're up to speed and know what happened. I mean, if their colleagues put all the details when they had to. So just after a call, after an email, just basic stuff to update the project basically. So once you update the project, then you can start moving the card around in the funnel. Also, as I said, you can set reminders. So also that's really handy if you need to call back someone or send an email back or just try to find out if they're happy with the proposal you sent. You get the idea. So next, let's move to the knowledge base. And the knowledge base is actually used for the customers area. So let's take a look at how it looks for an actual customer. So when your customer logs in the Perfex, this is what they'll see. It's slightly different. It's not full width, but it's really clean and to the point. So your customers knows the project summary. So here you see that there's 0 projects started, but there's 1 in progress. They also can see right away what's unpaid, what's been paid, what's overdue, and what's been partially paid. And that's where the knowledge base comes into play. So if you get the same questions over and over again, just add it to the knowledge base, and then your customers can search through with the search field within all the articles in the knowledge base. Now quickly, this is the projects view. So let's open it. It's basically a similar version to what you can see when you logged in as an admin, but yeah, the layout is slightly different, and of course, there's some information that you won't get as a customer. And something I must mention is that in a lot of different spots within Perfex, when you logged in as an admin, you can specify whether some pieces of content should be visible to the customer or not. Okay, next move to invoices, then the contracts, the estimates, the proposals, the support. And we've seen all that in the admin backend. Now, an interesting thing is GDPR, and you can also specify which options of GDPR you want to enable. Like here in the demo, they only enable right of access, but there are many others that you can enable, and that's great. Now, if you're not concerned with GDPR, you won't care. But if you live in Europe or if you work with a lot of European residents, then it's nice to know that that CRM actually works for GDPR. Next, you have the profile, company details, announcements, and the language, because Perfex is already translated in a bunch of languages. So this is where your customers can change their language, and then of course they can log out. Now let's move back to the admin. Now we have the utilities. So first we have the media. You can add a global you can add media to a global media library. You can bulk PDF export, and that's really great. Let's say you want all invoices from the 1st of January 2019 up to today. You can also specify and filter by tag and by status. Next, we have the calendar that you can link to different types of calendar like Google Agenda. And I believe you can have your own calendar and department calendars also, as well as a global one, if I'm not mistaken. So once again, very powerful, especially as a project manager, to have a bird's eye view, or even if you're a freelancer, you just want to see, okay, what's my week like? What deadlines do I have? And then you can change the color codes as well as a lot of various options. Next, we have goal tracking, and that's really powerful because you can set quantifiable. Can you say that? Well, you can set goals that you can track, and it's great because, like here, we can see the example: make contracts by type. Okay, then convert X number of leads, and at the end of the day or at the end of the month, you know if you manage to reach that goal or not. It's good whether you're a freelancer to motivate yourself, or it could be a way to motivate your sales team, for example. So here we have increased customer number, maximize the estimates conversion, and achieve a specified total income. So you get the idea. Next, you can create surveys for your customers and I believe also for the staff. Then we have the announcement, and basically it's like a broadcast. You can send a message and your customers and the staff will see that we get a little notification here. Like you can see here for the to-do items, you will see the number of notification here within a color bubble. Next, we have the database backup, pretty handy once again. But of course, as it mentions here, if the database is too large, you will need to make a manual backup. So backup, backup, backup. Next, we have the activity log. And that's pretty handy to see what's going on and check everything is in order. Then we have the ticket pipe log. I already talked about the email piping earlier in this video. So here you can see the log for that. Now we have the reports. I'm not going to look at all of them, but just show you the principle. So you can filter by status, you can filter by sale agent, and once you're happy, so you can export as Excel, CSV, PDF, or you can print it and you get the same type of reports for the expenses versus income, the leads, the timesheet overview, and the knowledge-based article. And for the knowledge-based article, basically, you can see what helps a customer or not. So let's go back to our knowledge base. And if I look at a specific post, at the end of the post, you can say whether it was useful or not. And this is what you see here. Blue being successful and red being useful, and the red being the contrary. Next, we have the setup, a lot of options here. So you can add new staff members. And as I mentioned earlier, when you add new staff members, you can actually specify that it's not actually a staff member, but more like an external partner. And I've already explained why I enjoy that feature. You can also enable two-factor authentication just for more security. Next, you have the customers. You can create groups as we've seen earlier, and that's interesting if you have several type of products or segments. Then we have the support where you can set the departments. You can actually also create predefined replies, which is very handy when you have a lot of things going on with the support. It really helps to speed up things. You can set the ticket's priority or create new priorities. Same for the ticket statuses. Here you can add new services, and I gave the example earlier to, for example, you selling packages, silver, platinum, gold, whatever. And this is where you can add your services. Next, we have spam filters. So you can block senders, subjects, or phrases. Then we have the leads. You can specify the different type of sources. You can specify the statuses. And here you can actually set up the email integration. So you could set up a specific email, and each and every time someone writes to that email for the first time, they will be added to your leads funnel. Next, in the same spirit, we have the Web 2 lead. So you can create a form on your website. And once people fill it in, all the details are inserted within Perfex, but of course that also depends on GDPR. But you have several options for that. And the great thing is, for example, if you use WordPress, the documentation of Perfex is really great. So they show you how to connect, for example, the Contact 7 WordPress plugin to Perfex. And as I say in the article, you can actually use the same principle for most WordPress plugin form plugins. And for example, I've used that on an Elementor Pro form and it worked like a charm. Next, we have the payment modes where you can add several different types of payment modes. You can set the expense categories, and we've seen the expenses option in the navigation earlier. Next, you have the contract. You can specify the contract types. And here you can change the email templates. So these are the automatic emails that are sent depending on the action that was taken before, like sending a ticket or replying to a ticket. And basically this is where you can change the text, and also where you can translate. So if you speak Spanish, you can just translate the text that's here and copy it here with the translation. Next, we have the custom fields, and you can add custom fields to many type of different type of content. So you can add it to the company, leads, customer, contacts, and so on, as you can see in the list. So if you really want to customize Perfex, having the ability to add custom fields is really powerful. Next, we have the GDPR options, and once again, you may not care about GDPR, but many of us do, so it's great to know you have all these options to comply with that law. I will not talk about whether that law is legitimate or not, but that law exists. There are some good sides about it, some bad sides about it, but it's there, so it's good to have the option. Next, you can define the roles. So here we have one role, which is employee, but you could add new roles like VIP or head of marketing or partner, for example. That would be more appropriate. And once you get inside a role, you can actually change the different options, what the employee role can do, what they can view, what they can create, what they can edit, and what they can delete. Okay, next we have the menu setup. So this is to actually change the navigation that's right here on the left-hand side. So you can add or remove or move around the elements. And the same goes for the setup menu, which is the menu that you see right here on the left-hand side. Next, we have the theme style, and you can really start playing with the different looks. Once again, this is not the prettiest UI, but you can actually tweak it to your liking by changing the color codes here. So what you will need to do is to add a hex color code. So as you can see, changes are reflected right away. So I just typed randomly, and you can spend time and just play around with it until you really like it. And if you know CSS, you can even tweak it further. Like for example, I don't really like to have the navigation all in caps lock. So what I did, I mean in uppercase. So what I did with the simple CSS, I just changed that. Well, obviously not here in the demo, but in the different installs that I've made with Perfex. So if you don't know CSS, don't worry, you can just add the color codes here and tweak the admin, customers, buttons, tabs, modals, and general options. But if you know CSS, then you can do even more. And last but not least, we have the settings. This is where you set or your identity or company information. This is where you set the default languages and the default time zone, time format. Then we have email options. So you're just going to decide which mail engine you're going to use, and then you're going to enter your credentials. You can also see what's in the email queue. Next, in the finances, you have other options like what's the invoice number prefix, what's the next invoice number, and after how many days is an invoice due. All these options. Well, there's a lot of options, but it really makes sense once you go through it. Nothing difficult about that. Then we have the rest of the options, like options for the subscription, the payment gateways. And as you can see, there's quite a few. Next, you can specify settings for your customers, for the tasks, for the support, the leads. I'm just going through these because it's just plain English. All you have to do is read, and it's pretty self-explanatory. And if you don't understand, you always have these question mark bubbles. And as we'll see later, the documentation is just great with Perfex. Next, you can specify which calendar you will be using, and you can also style it. Next, the PDF options, where you can set up electronic signature, the document formats. Now, this is specifically for the electronic signature. You can also connect it to an SMS platform like Twilio, MSG91, don't know that one, and Clickatel. Here you can specify the cron jobs running on the server. You can specify the tags. You can connect these. You can connect Perfex to pusher.com, and you can also enter the Google API and client ID. Then you have a few miscellaneous options here. And if you're interested, I really invite you to check the demo, and I will put a link in the description of this video. Okay. And the very last point is the documentation. See, even if you have the greatest tools on earth, if you don't know how to use it, it doesn't matter. And that's what I like with Perfex, is that they have really a solid documentation. Actually, I can't really recall a time when I was not able to find an answer to my question. Well, never say never, but what I want you to grasp is that they have a very solid documentation. And I think I only had to contact support once, and it was great. I mean, the response was spot on. It was fast, I mean, at least fast enough for me. So I can only recommend Perfex. Oh yeah, and something I forgot to mention is that you can actually perform a system update right from the settings. Now, of course, before you update, make sure that you backed up the whole system, so the files and the database. And really make sure, you may even want to do several backups, but make sure you do that before you update. But once you've made your backups, all you need to do is enter your purchase key once, and then you'll be entitled to update. So that's pretty handy, and it's worked fine for me. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff, and the weird thing is I try to go through everything, but I've only barely scratched the surface. But as I said in the beginning of this video, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. You don't need to know everything in and out. You can just use it to your liking. You can remove from the navigation elements that you're not going to use within your business. But the more you use Perfex, if you're like me, the more you're going to love it, and the more it's going to help your business. Now, whether or not you want to use Perfex, what's important is the idea of staying organized and automate some of your workflow. So before you launch, you should put yourself in the shoes of a prospect or a customer, or even better, ask someone that has a profile matching your ideal customer to pretend that they are booking your services or buying your products, and go through the whole process. Now, at each stage of the process, ask them what went well and what went wrong, and write down each comment that they give you so that you can adjust and take action later. Then repeat the process with someone else, and so on until your sales process is pretty much flawless. So as we've just seen, having your brand defined, your products created, and your services defined is just not enough. You also need to make sure that you have the right tools and the right processes in place so that your customer's experience will be enjoyable at all stages. And also, it's important to give your team and your business partners a way to stay organized. Now, I know that's a lot of information packed in just one video, so let me know in the comments below if you struggle with a specific aspect mentioned today. So I hope that this video helped you understand the importance of thoroughly testing your sales and after sales funnel. And if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, as it really helps growing this channel. And by the way, you can find the companion blog post on my website, Kaycinho.com. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please like it as it really helps growing this channel. And if you know someone that could benefit from it, please share it now. If you're not a subscriber, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and smash the notification bell so that you don't miss anything. Now, if you're not yet part of the community, make sure you like my page, Be Your Own Boss with Kaycinho, so that you can join a community of like-minded, aspiring, and confirmed entrepreneurs. Now, if you want to brand, market, and grow your business in the digital age, then make sure you subscribe to my email newsletter so that you never miss a share of digital alchemy, as well as tips, tools, services, and case studies that can help you grow your business online. So that's it for this episode. I hope to see you in the next one. And in the meantime, don't forget to invest
In your success.